ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Once Upon a Dad podcast. Hold on, let me turn my headphones down. Golly. All right, I feel like I was screaming at myself. Okay, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. It has been 2 whole weeks since I posted an episode, so I feel like I need to start this week off by apologizing to you guys for not being here the last 2 weeks. I promised that I would deliver every week, and I did not. And that I'm sure things happen in life, but these last 2 weeks have been crazy, man, emotionally for me. I'll delve into that at another time. I don't feel like this is the right moment to do it. I'm still in the midst of things trying to work stuff out. But in due time it'll come out. But I just wanted to thank y'all for being patient with me, man. And in the midst of all of that, I had my computer crash out, so I didn't have access to my computer. And then last week I was out of town with Aaliyah, with my sister. I'll tell you guys about that here in a minute. And couldn't record while I was out there, so everything just compiled on one to another. But I'm okay. I'm safe. The babies are good and safe. And we're back for another episode. This will be another short one, man, because again, this is just me talking to you guys. And the whole point of this is for everybody to learn, including myself. I want to learn from others. So I'm still on the hunt for guys who want to come on and be a guest. Again, if you are interested, please comment under this video wherever you're watching it. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube is the preferable platform. But wherever you guys find me, man, just hit me a comment, send me a message, and just let me know that you'd like to be a guest, man, and we can talk about it. Obviously, you have to be a girl dad. You have to have a daughter, no matter how many you have, no matter how old you are, how young you are. It'll be great. And also, we need ladies. We need young ladies. We need moms. We need grandmas. We need to hear from the women as well, because how can we know how to be good dads without listening to women? So it's going to be great. But I will have some awesome guests on. I have already spoken to a few great guys, and we're trying to match up our schedules. So we'll get that in the works here soon. All right, let's jump into it, man. I wanted to talk this week about having one-on-one dates with your girls and how important I think that is. It's something that I am working on for sure. I've noticed that girls and women who say they have great relationships with their father, they say, my dad used to take me out and do things with me. And that obviously, girls, dads take their girls out for sure. But it was the intentionality of dads taking their daughters on a true date and showing them what a date looks like. Now, for all of us, it's going to be different. My girls are 6'4" and 2, so it's a play date. They're probably going to want to go to Chuck E. Cheese or Sky Zone or, something along those lines. But still, it's setting the foundation for when it's no longer, well, I won't say that. It will always be I was about to say, when it's no longer my turn to take care of her and protect her, it will always be my job for as long as I'm alive. But when I have to hand over that responsibility to another young gentleman, I want her to already have the mindset of, this is how my dad took care of me, and now this is how I will expect you to take care of me. I want to make sure that I set that foundation, be strong, be firm, while also being gentle, being loving, being caring, because that's what I want her to find in a husband if she so chooses to have a husband. So I've been doing one-on-one things with my sisters lately. My girls, it's so hard with the three girls to get them all one-on-one. Funnily enough, but I've had time for my sisters, who I know we've already talked about. I'm like a father figure to them as well. So I've asked them something that they wanted to do, and I'll try to do it. A big event, whether it be a concert or going to a certain city that they've never been to, anything. So I talked to Aaliyah, and Aaliyah wanted to go see Rod Wave. Rod Wave is her favorite musician. And she said, he's coming in concert, but he's not coming in Cincinnati. He'll be down in Tampa. And I said, okay, we can make that work. So Aaliyah and I, that's her present. We went down. I'll explain a little bit about that. And then Kella wants to go see. I asked them both at the same time, who's your favorite artist? Who would you like to see? Where do you want to go? So when Aaliyah said Rod Wave, Aaliyah was like, or Kella said, well, my favorite artist is Michael Jackson. I was like, well, babe, I think the ship kind of sailed on that. But actually something really cool fell in my lap, and I'll tell you about that as well. So let me hop into Aaliyah's experience first, and then once Kella and I's experience are done this week, I'll be able to explain next week how that went. So Aaliyah and I went to go see Rod Wave. down in Tampa, Florida. When I tell you, I am not a Rod Wave fan. Let me start that out. I don't hate the guy. I don't know the guy. I just listen to his music and I don't vibe to it. So nothing against him. And I didn't think he was as big as he was. And also he's from Florida. So I got to see him perform in Florida. And I know it's always different when you're at your home base, whatever. But we got down there, man, and those people were nuts. I mean, excuse me, I'm getting over a cold too, y'all. So sorry, my voice sound crazy, but I mean, everybody went ape shit for this guy, and he put on a hell of a show. And it's crazy because he really didn't do much. If you know Rod Wave as a performer, he's just, I mean, he's just big dude. He don't do anything crazy. He don't jump around. He don't dance. He just walk around, wipe off his sweat, and get his mic in, and do his songs. But he didn't even need to perform. I mean, the entire crowd was singing every song. You know how you go to a concert and some songs are hit or miss. Even if it's like one of your favorite artists, you'll stand up and then you sit down for a couple songs and you stand up. Every song was a banger. Every song had the entire place jumping. I'm like, dang. So Rod Wave actually did gain my respect from that. And from Aaliyah's point, she was just in heaven. You can tell that she was so excited. You hardly ever hear Aaliyah get truly excited about doing something, but you can tell that this is somebody who she loves. She's been talking about Rod Wave for years, and I always make fun of her, saying that he's so depressing. Like all this music is about death. I was like, send me like your top 5 favorite songs from him, and in every song it was like, yep, his mom, his grandma died, his best friend died, his uncle died. I don't know. I'm just making that up, but everything was just sad. And I mean, but he owns that shit though. He's great at it. I'm not knocking him at all. But yeah, anyway, Aaliyah, she had such a good time, man. And just to look over and see the pure joy in her face made the entire trip worth it. I was so glad I did it. I would do it again in a heartbeat. It was a lot of money to get down there in the hotel and the tickets for it. But just to know that something off her bucket list is checked off is so cool for me. And, maybe it'll be something I get to do again and maybe not, because that was the person at the top of her list. I think she said NBA Youngboy was on there as well. She would like to go see him. Also not a fan, but I can make it happen. And that's another thing with these one-on-one dates. Make sure, again, we talked about this last week or not last week, the last episode was make sure that you show interest in what they are interested in, because we could have went to a concert that I wanted to go to. I could have brought her to a Teddy Swims concert who was here. It would have been much cheaper and it would have been fun for me. It wouldn't have done anything for her. I mean, sure, she probably would have enjoyed spending time with me, but the fact that I showed interest in her, you can tell that in the moment I asked her where she wanted to go, you can see her eyes light up like, oh my God, he's interested in me. And then once we actually got there, it's like, wow, he did this for me, because I did not go there for myself. I do not like Rod Wave. I would not have ever paid to go see a concert for my own enjoyment. But putting my wants and likes and desires aside for the girls is what it's all about. That's what it's about being a parent. That's what it's about being a dad. Sometimes we have to put our pride and selfishness and wants and needs aside to make our babies happy, to give the kids the life that they want, or life that we want for them, rather. So it was great. It was such a good time. And then for Kella, like I said, she wanted to go see Michael Jackson, and actually, there is Michael Jackson the musical coming up here in Louisville, Kentucky. So I actually get to work at the venue at the show, and I bought her and my mom a ticket to go see it because I have to work the show, so she wouldn't be able to. I couldn't sit with her at the show, but even still, man, we haven't gone yet. But every time I talk about it, her eyes light up and she gets excited because again, she feels seen, and this is something that she wants to do, and I don't want to. I know that there's so many kids out there who have things on their bucket list that they may never get to check off their list. Never. And, who knows if I wasn't here, to be the father figure for these two, maybe they would never get to do it either. So it's a little, I don't know if I want to call it selfish, but it makes me feel good for sure that I'm going to do something for them. But also, I just think that they're very thankful and appreciative that someone is taking interest in what they're interested in. All right. I apologize, y'all, though. hot water heater just decided to turn on in the background, so hopefully it's not too loud and bothersome. But anyway, so that's what I did for my two sisters. Now for the three little ones, I still have yet to find something to do with them. It's so cool to getting the kids out. So if you do have more than one child, I have done one-on-one dates with the girls before. Um and it's it's so cool, man, because when you get them away from each other, when they're together, they have like this gang mentality and they're all rah, rah, rah. I got to be loud and excited and whatever kids do. But when you get them out and it's just you and them, and it could be just you and it could be father daughter time. You can go with mom. It can be, mom and dad time with just the one baby. Either one. This is, great for both parents. But it's so cool to see them on their own because they don't feel like they have the need to show out for any siblings. They don't have to be cool or be bad or do anything. They can just be themselves. So it's very fun and interesting to watch. So those of you who have one child, lucky you, you're great. You get to see that authentic them all the time. And I love that for y'all. But yeah, man, my challenge to you guys would be to, when you do take your daughters out on whatever it is that you do, just be that role model and go in there thinking, how can I show my daughter exactly what it is, what life could be like with the right man, with the right man to protect you, make you feel safe, but also make you feel loved and cherished. Open her door, pull her chair out for her when she sits down. I pay for the food, obviously. Things like that, things that that you would do for your significant other, for your wife, or for a girl that you're dating, whatever. Do that for your daughter, and you'll be grateful for it, or she'll be grateful for it rather. Also, outside of the one-on-one dates, my only other tidbit for the day is bring back dinners at the table. I have been talking to so many people lately, and so many folks say that they don't have dinners at the table anymore. And that kind of shocked me because that was something that we always did growing up. My mom was really good about that. We always had dinner together, sitting around the table, which is funny now because I look at my mom and with her living with all the girls in the house, I don't think they ever sit at the table. I think everybody just kind of goes to their room. But that's so sad to me, man. And it felt, and I actually looked it up and I found a few statistics, which I then lost because you had to pay for it. You have to pay for everything now, y'all. This shit is wild, yo. Anyway, having dinner at the table is something about it, man. It gives you time together as a family, uninterrupted time, hopefully, as a family. No phones, not even in your pocket. I would like phones to be out. My girls are still little, so they don't have phones anyway. But when they do get older, I'll make dinner time a no phone time and just time to talk, chat. What's going on? How are you? How's life? What did you do in school? Who do you like in school? What are you confused about? Do you have any questions about the world? I feel like those are precious moments that we won't be able to get back. Yes, when the kids get older, we can do that. We can invite them over for dinners and have the grandkids over, and that's fine. But I feel like when they're young and in this very impressionable time in their lives, we need to help shape and mold them to be good humans. And I feel like dinner time is such a good time to do that because it's such a vulnerable moment when you eat. When you are eating, you're like nothing big and crazy is going on. When you're watching war movies, you never see them eat. You always just see them fight because there's something vulnerable about sitting down and replenishing your body. And so doing that with the kids and talking to them, and this doesn't just apply for daughters, obviously, this applies for your boys as well. But it just makes me sad that families don't sit down and talk to each other anymore, man. So again, another challenge for you guys is to have dinner time at the table. No phones, no background noise, no TV on in the background at the table. Just sit down and talk to the kids. It can be about whatever. Me and the girls, what did we talk about the other day? Oh, I bought placemats. I bought these placemats for the tables that had different educational stuff on it. So for my little ones, it was, teaching them about money and this is a quarter and this is a dime and nickel, which honestly, I don't know how much longer they're going to need. These, I'm pretty sure actual cash is going to be obsolete here in the next couple of years, decades maybe. But so yeah, it was one about that. It was one teaching them about the seasons. I think there was one naming the planets, a few math problems. things like that. So those sparked conversations for me and my girls. I think I bought them on Amazon. They just look up educational, dinner table placemats or educational placemats, and there's a bunch. So for those of us who have younger ones, that's a great conversation starter or something to get things going. Because it can also be an educational moment too, which I feel like as parents we don't get to do educational stuff with the kids. Maybe as much. I know I don't, because when they get home, they're ready to play. All their learning was done at school and now learning is over. But, keep the learning going on at home. And for you older guys, or, guys who have older daughters who are, teenagers, obviously placemats won't work. But still, just taking their phone away and just say, hey, what's going on? Talk to me. Ask open ended questions. Don't ask things, did you enjoy school? Did you have fun? Because those are closed-ended questions that just allow them to say yes or no, and then conversation will be over. But truly get them talking or talk about your day. If they're not giving you anything, talk about your day. Just say, hey, this is what I did at work. I don't even know if most kids know what their parents do at work. They know they are an insurance salesman. Okay, great. I know my dad sells insurance, but what does your day-to-day look like? So get them into your world, and then maybe that'll help them open up and bring you into theirs more often. And it may be awkward for the first couple of times, and they might not be used to it if they're used to being on their phones. But the more they do it, the more they'll open up. And it was really cool. The statistics, I can't find the numbers anymore because I didn't pay for the subscription for this thing. But they said children who sat down and had dinner with their families or with a parent, whoever it was that they live with, were less likely to do drugs or drink alcohol, have better grades in school, less behavioral issues in school, and less suicides. And I thought that was so cool. And obviously, I can't remember what the number was because before I wrote that down, it all went away. But and obviously, it's a causation and a correlation type thing. Obviously, because you sit down and eat dinner with your family doesn't mean you're going to be a great human, but it says something to that. The parents who take time and focus on family time and have that family dinner, they have these core values set up, which then spills over into what they do in school, into what they do out in the community. So just show that love to your kids. Give them that time together with you, the uninterrupted you, the version of you that doesn't have to check an email, the version of you that's not answering a text, the version of you that's not answering a phone call, the version of you that's not running to cook or clean. Just have time to relax at the dinner table and talk to your babies. All right. And that's it for me, y'all. That's all I got for this week. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for being patient with me for these past 2 weeks. I'm sorry I haven't put out any product for y'all, but I'm back. I'm feeling great. And we'll keep this up, man. I am looking for someone to come on here with me next week. I have a couple people in mind. I will reach out to them and see. And if you guys see anybody on social media, so you like any dads out there, you're like, man, it would be really cool to hear a little bit more about their story and have them on the podcast, please. You can tag them in this video. You can inbox me. You can comment a message and say, hey, this person would be great. You can also email me at onceuponadadpodcast@gmail.com. And thank you guys so much. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and follow me on all social medias. But I appreciate you guys. I love y'all. See y'all next week.